Hello, Lorenzo here, episode 8 of Kerbal Space Colonization, where we are currently time warping at times 1000. Let's quit that, shall we? Anyway, last episode we ended with some horrific Kraken attack on the base, which was reverted by the use of a magic quick save and a backup. Actually, it took a quick save and a backup, so this was a particularly horrific Kraken attack. In other attacks, we lost some radiators from that, but that's more episodes ago. Anyway, I managed to fix the issue and am thus rebuilding the rocket, and the fix will become apparent. Anyway, we're at 12.15%. Let's just time warp until completion. This will give me time to explain to any new viewers, if there are any among you 50 or so that will watch this video. Haha, go get your friends to watch it. The fact that this extraplanetary launch pad, which makes rockets, doesn't appear to have the parts required to build it, doesn't matter because this base produces them. And now that it's becoming night, it doesn't run out of power because it has a nuclear reactor. Nuclear reactors run on enriched uranium, which is being produced at this base. It is producing a surplus, so later this episode, probably this episode, we will send a uranium drop pod to the planet Kerbin for money. Yeah. The drop pod designed as I did fits 1250 uraniums, and we currently have 1004. So that's probably going to, well, take like a week more in-game time to produce that. I could crank up production because our miners, they are getting all the uraninite we need. This has been sitting at 5,000 forever, so all I really need is like a big stack of uranium centrifuges. And this is something I have been thinking of in general, is to, well, basically scrap this base and just get one big stack where all of these base modules are attached together, because I had to launch them like one at a time. There's a power bit, there's a logistics bit, there is a fuel bit, there is a refinery bit, and there's an aeroponics bit, which doesn't actually seem to work. And then there's the miner bit and the launchpad bit. So I could scrap like all of this and make that together in a big ball like this, which could possibly reduce the part count a little bit and, well, allow for things like 4 centrifuges stacked on top of one another. Just an idea. For now, none of that is going to happen because we need some more time warp to produce our rocket parts to build this thing. And to remind you, the Sundiver Mark III will linger in Minmus orbit for a while, at which point it will, well, wait until the 35 days are up and we can grab the heat shield asteroid, which is in fact an asteroid that will be used as a heat shield for its mission to the sun. Yeah. Wait a second. It just came to me that there's one ship missing from this list. I will investigate after this launch. I'll get back to that. First, let us launch the revamped ship that will not invoke the Kraken, and I will have to be quick on the throttle, which you'll realize why soon. Alright, we're gonna finalize the build. No! This is not actually the one. This is the wrong solution. This does not fix the Kraken at all. No, no, no. No, 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 no. This is not good. People, this is not good. This has never worked in testing. This is the wrong blueprint. Alright, we're gonna oh shit, now I've fired the engines of the base. That was probably also bad. This has never worked before. Let's give it a go. 1, 2, 3. Go. Fire. It has worked this time. Oh god. See, in the final version of this, I had scaled this back to be like one girder that would just serve to spawn this thing a little bit higher in the air. This always crashed into the scaffolding. Now, of course, this is ridiculous to build rockets like this to avoid putting them on the launch pad, which should be built to accommodate rockets. But hey, it's a mod. If the rocket is a bit bigger than the launch pad, apparently horrible things happen. and this was my first draft solution. It does look good, if I say so myself. But let's work on getting this thing into an orbit then, shall we? Because as I said before, we're gonna have to wait until the heat shield asteroid gets there, and it's gonna do that waiting in orbit. It's going to drop these scaffolds as soon as it's gonna be confidently clear of the uranium shop. And then we're gonna have a look, because what I was on about just before launch was that we're sending the ion lander to Vol. It's going to land on Vol and test an ion engine, obvious. We're sending the Prospect Eeloo to Eeloo. That's going to, well, try and land on Eeloo and then mine some carborundum there, also obvious. We're also launching the Ion Exodus. That's like the ion-powered satellite to all of Joule's moons. Also pretty obvious, but I'm missing one. I'm missing the Joule diver that was gonna go into the ionosphere of Joule and mine carborundum there. And I have a feeling that it may have been lost in the backup restore from restoring from the Kraken. We're away from the uranium shop at last. Let's ditch these scaffolds. Bye. And with the benefit of some frame rates, let's not make our orbit too crazy. Let's warp to Apoapsis here. Let's just take it easy like that. Please warp to Apoapsis quicker. Yes. No, wait. Oh god. Oh, I'm not out of electric charge yet. Let's deploy a solar panel. I think I only brought the really huge one, so I'll deploy 2 of those. Now, if you didn't watch the previous episode, the goal of this thing is to grab onto an asteroid with the claw here, then drill into it with the drills, refine the asteroid stuff to fuel, fire that out of the nuclear engines, and thus get the Delta V to maneuver the asteroid close to the sun. I am not at all confident that that will happen, and secondly, that will actually provide with an efficient heat shield to shield against the sun's rays. But I thought the idea was too cool not to do, so here we are doing it. And of course the objective, once we get that close to the sun, is to deploy the particle collector on the back here and collect carborundum for fusion engines and futuristic space power. That's even more uncertain. And all of this should make for some good times. Alright, this is now in orbit. We will shortly go back to the Minmus base to produce the uranium drop pod, but we're going to go back to the space center, to the tracking station, and look for the Joule diver, because and here we are. Joule diver has been found. It has been launched and it is on its way, so no losses there from the backup. The only thing that it didn't have was a reminder in the... Holy moly, this is really hot. The only thing it didn't have was a reminder in the Kerbal alarm clock. So we're going to add that now, and then proceed with a uranium drop. Let's see. Do we need a course correct? We can do with a course correct, because this thing just needs to get close to Joule, so it shouldn't be too easy. 81 days. Add a maneuver. Add Joule diver course node. Right on. Let us return to the Minmus base. Right, here we are at the Minmus base with the small uranium drop ship. That takes just 8,000 rocket parts, of which we've currently produced 4. So let's go ahead and build that. Time warp it forward. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to, well, first of all, time warp until this thing produces. And then I'm gonna do either of 2 things. I'm going to either launch like 3 days before the heat shield asteroids arrives, or I'm going to launch when the supply of uranium is high enough. And then we can observe this mission in the episode, and of course the asteroid capture moment, and we can see whether or not that actually works. I think that's a good filling for this episode. And I have to make an announcement. This episode will be a Sunday episode, and after this one I am quite uncertain for the next coming weeks whether or not I'm going to have episodes, because all weekends for the rest of November are going to be filled with holidays, trips, birthdays, and then the last week of November I'm going to be on holiday for a whole week diving in the Red Sea, which should be awesome, but should hamper my ability to make videos. So it may be a relatively video dry period, for which I apologize, but there's nothing to do about it, and I will try to make a little bit of a cache which I can release slowly, but that may not actually materialize. Right, we have a uranium dropship. We have 1077 uraniums, and we have 23 days to go on our asteroid window. So we can nibble a little bit away from that. Let's see, there we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, blah. Let's go for this. And we can leave, well, at least we want to go in the daytime. We can leave like 6 uraniums here. That should be enough to power the reactor. I mean, 0.1 was enough to power the reactor, but who's counting? Alright then, this one is actually going to be seated on that dodgy launch pad, so we'll see how that goes. Let's finalize the build. Fortunately, it is really small. Electric charge oxidizer. What happened to the uranium? Also, it says here liquid fuel empty. Wait just a second. Enriched uranium. What? This is cheating. Somehow it determined it was okay to make enriched uranium from rocket parts. Alright, that's a definite cheat. We're gonna have to get rid of this. Let's release it. It's not okay to make uranium from rocket parts. The Kerbal Rocketry Association has some very clear guidelines about that. This kind of uranium isn't actual uranium. It is made from baby's tears. This will give you a nice opportunity to showcase the drop pod, though. Here it is. It has a rocket engine for getting it to Kerbin. It has a heat shield for re-entry. It has many parachutes and some wings for aerodynamics. It is a very basic craft, and it shouldn't have taken 6,000 rocket parts. That's because in a weird sweatshop they converted them into fake uranium. We aren't going to stand for that, and hence this thing is going to be pile driven into the surface of Minmus. This is what we do with fake uranium, and accordingly the camera is going really weird. Apparently the cameraman, Kerbin person, the camera person really doesn't have anything going for fake harvesting industry. Let's see how close we can skim to the planet under full rocket thrust here. That's a nice little impromptu game. Give it to the kids, the 15-year-olds. I mean, our speed is way exceeding orbital speed, but our vector isn't quite orbital. Let's come on, let's not crash now. Oh, there we go. That was a fairly inevitable crash, obviously, because that was the whole point of that endeavor. Alright, back to the uranium shop. We'll not tell them what happened. I have to go through the space center. Well, fine. And here we are back at the uranium shop, and I did pass by the VAB to modify the blueprint to not include fake uranium. This will present new challenges for us. Let's go for the small uranium drop here. See, it's... Oh, we have the parts. They have been generated in the meantime. That's wonderful. This will then take only 3 hours, and we don't actually have a problem at all. We can just produce this and send it off with the actual uranium. Because it wouldn't do to have this base grinding away at actual enriched proper commercial grade uranium for a month or so, or 2 or 3, and then just dump fake counterfeit stuff on the market. Then this uranium shop would lose its reputation, not get any more sales, and well, our space program would be dead. So you can see the crash we just witnessed was really in the best interest of everyone involved. Alright, here we go again. The uranium shop. And here it says nicely 0 of 0 enriched uranium. See, it doesn't even recognize the enriched uranium as an actual resource. So we're going to have to, not uranite, where's the uranium? Metal, polymers, here we go, enriched uranium. We have to actually transfer it we cannot transfer it? That may be a problem then. I'm pretty sure we can transfer fuel this way. Yes. Why oh why can't enriched uranium be transferred? Also, why oh why is this slider apparently not working? I want to transfer the enriched uranium, please. Can I do so from the reactor? No, there is apparently no way to transfer the enriched uranium. I had not counted on this. Well, hopefully I can do it with the logistics module. That would then just mean, I mean, is it maybe full now? No. It is full of fuel. Hopefully I can then do it when it's in orbit. We will instead have to try that. And if this doesn't work, then we're gonna have to find a different way to deliver our uranium. Somehow. Maybe we'll have to outfit our ships with a claw. Or some crazy solution like that. I am liking the power on this rocket, because of course, as long as this thing is empty, it's gonna go like stink. And see, we're already like pretty much in orbit. I will have to time warp ever so slightly to get to the highest point, and then we can utilize the colony logistics. Although, if the launch pad doesn't recognize it as being resources, then maybe the logistics won't either, and that would be a problem. Oh shit, I forgot to open the solar panels again. Are we out of electric charge? We are not. I'm a lucky bastard, because this could have lost me the ship. Where is the solar panels? Here they are. Extend them. Never mind that we are in the shade, we have a bit of power remaining. And we will soon fire the engine, which will of course also generate electricity. Let's fire that engine. There we go. Is that in orbit? It's not in orbit yet. There we go. This is in orbit. Now we can go ahead and see about using that colony logistics module. If I can get the base to come into focus. Switch to the uranium shop. Damn it, this is causing more problems than I had anticipated. Right, back at the uranium shop where everyone is working tirelessly. How are the supplies doing? Alright, they're 2,000 from 3,000, and there's still a bunch in orbit. Still though, the greenhouse is not working. Not great, that. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Colony logistics. From the uranium shop to small uranium drop. Enriched uranium. Yes, we can fill it up. Let's go for 1161. Set. This will cost fuel, which will be paid by the source. Transfer. 1 day and 1 hour. And now we should focus the uranium shop. Uranium drop, I mean. We should focus that for a day and an hour, and then we can send it off to Kerbin. So here's some time warping. We'll just stare at the resourcing. Let's see, that's electric charge going up and down. That's like almost a day. Yeah, there we have the enriched uranium. Thank you, transfer pod. And now, of course, for the easiest bit, to deploy it to Kerbin. For that, we just launch. We just fire a little bit more prograde. And what I never did try is to land this thing on water. Although I have a rocket now. Yeah, the latest iteration of this design has an actual retro rocket. So we should be fine. Does this have fuel? It does have fuel. It is a little bit hard to control this full of uranium. That's something I didn't anticipate. Oh man, we're gonna make some money firing the engine. Let's observe our trajectory. Here we go, getting closer to Kerbin. Are we gonna enter into the night? Maybe. Okay, our trajectory is getting weird now. Oh well, let's fire the engine a little bit more. This will now happen in... Ooh, it will happen in several days. Let's see. This is gonna have to be an express delivery, because 5 days will interfere with the asteroid course. Let's warp to the sphere of influence change. That's not gonna be too long. That's like gonna be an hour. This is gonna be an express delivery, because of course we want to deliver this before we have to start mucking about with the asteroid. Because I had a thought. I had this thought like, hey, what the hell? I just announced that I'm going to be having difficulties releasing regular videos. Yet every video is incredibly long. Like some of them are over an hour. For one, because I like talking to myself in front of a computer, but also because I'm always incredibly optimistic about what I'll be able to do in a single episode. And let's not make that crazier than it always is. Let's just have this uranium drop. And let's accelerate that. 3 days. 4 days. Oh, this is still going to take a frightening amount of days. Kerbin periapsis, how does this always take this long? Come on, faster. Takes now 2 days. And now if I do this, it will take 4 days again. Come on, that can't be right. Oh no, now it just takes 1 day and 5 hours. And now it takes... No, that can't be right, come on. It takes... Yes, now it takes 2 days and 0 hours. And it's at... Yes. Yes, this is going to do it. 21 kilometers periapsis in 2 days and 0 hours. That's 2 hours before this asteroid. So that's 2 hours before the actual next episode is going to have to start. We're going to make an acceleration burn of 800 meters per second, which is incidentally also going to make re-entry very interesting. And when I say interesting, I of course mean terrifying. And I'll tell you why. Because normally the entry speed, re-entry speed, for this is what it would be an entry speed, of course. Normally the entry speed from Minmus would be around 3 kilometers per second. We're adding a kilometer per second to that now. That means it's going to be 4. Another thing, this thing is quite heavy. This weighs like 8 or 10 tons, yet the cross section is only this, so it's going to be more like a bullet and less like a space capsule re-entering, which means that it will shed velocity a lot slower than its capsule-like counterparts. So this will really go like a bullet through the atmosphere. Fortunately, it's not that important to get right, because of course it is only 1,000 tons of uranium. Not 1,000 tons, because it only weighs 10 tons. 10 tons of uranium. Right. We're almost out of fuel on this, which would mean to drain the fuel from the lander engine, which I wouldn't want to do. Let's see what our trajectory is saying now. I think this is already... Let's see, it's at 120 meters, 120 kilometers, which is pretty much completely... which is almost entry height. So we're going to have to burn just radially like this. I think it's like this anyway, to get that periapsis a little bit closer. Yes, this is all we're gonna do. And I'm gonna put it nice and low. Ooh, 13 is maybe a little bit really low. It has to be low, because we are on a escape trajectory as of now, which means if we go through the atmosphere without slowing down enough, then we're just goners. Still, 12 was a little bit enthusiastic. Let's go for 20. And let's now time warp until that point. And because I'm always too fast with the time warp to atmospheres, I'm going to use a quick save, which I just did. Right, let's stare at Kerbin. There we are. 10,000. Blip it. 10,000 again. Is rotating. Here we're going. We're going in. We're currently at 1,300 meters per second. That doesn't sound too bad still. 2,500. It's getting faster. We are now at almost atmospheric height, crossing the 3 kilometer threshold, 3 kilometer per second threshold. That is, and here we are, hitting the first traces of atmo at 3,400 meters per second, which is hella fast in non-rocket speak. Let's ditch this engine. It only has, isn't worth turning around another time. Ditch it. Engage SAS. What I have 2 rings of thrusters. No, not thrusters. I have 2 rings of parachutes. The first, oh, by the way, these solar panels are going to be sheared off, but that doesn't matter. That's okay. I have 2 rings of thrusters. Not thrusters, parachutes. I've got drogue chutes. They can deploy at high altitude. And then I've got regular chutes. And then I've got an engine, and they shouldn't be in the same stage. Parachutes first, engines second. Right, here we are going. We're at 35 kilometers. Our ablator shield is starting to ablate. Nevertheless, that's our solar panels. They can't eat atmo so well. Here we are. Ablating, G-forces at 1. Our other debris is exploding behind us. We're 28 kilometers. We're falling pretty quickly. I'm using active control to stay oriented properly. I don't think it's necessary. The winglets should be stable passively, but hey, we have the reaction wheel, let's use it. And here you can see what I said about it being a bullet. We're at 23 kilometers, which is a thick atmosphere altitude. We're slowing down at about 4 Gs, but we should be slowing down more. You can see we are actually almost starting to climb again. We're just friggin' horizontal. We're streaking through the atmosphere, going really quickly, because all this uranium is packed into a small volume, which makes the overall density of this craft really high, and thus making it really efficient at punching through atmosphere. Doesn't matter though, I think we're still going to make it. Our vertical speed, if you look up here, is actually decreasing, which means we are sort of bouncing up. But now it's increasing again, which means we're in for terminal sink. And our G-forces have decreased to about 3, even though we're still at 1,700 meters per second at just 17 kilometers of altitude. But this does mean that we are definitely going in, and as long as our heat shield is holding, we should be happy, because, well, we made a nice altitude estimation for the entry. The only problem I can see now is that we're probably going to come in overnight in the ocean, which means I'm gonna have to be on the ball with the landing, because this heavy bit of uranium is liable to splash into the ocean so quickly that it will explode. And that's why I've got a landing thruster. But I have to be careful with that so as not to zero out the velocity, because if you zero out your velocity whilst in mid-air, your parachutes disappear. That's a nice quirk of Kerbal space physics. And also, of course, I have to not run out of fuel before hitting the ground. I should also slow down enough before hitting the ground, because we're now at 8 kilometers and still going at max something much. Let's see, parachutes are still unsafe to deploy. It's risky and now it's safe. So let's deploy these drogues. Did that do it? No, that didn't do it. Deploy the drogues. And now we can start to observe the actual parachutes. And there we can see it. It's definitely going to be an ocean landing. Other parachutes are also safe. Okay, cutting the throttle now, and now we can ditch the heat shield and fire the engine. Not yet. You can see the atmospheric drag is still pushing the heat shield towards us. Not anymore. What to deal with this, I don't know. This decoupler is on the wrong way around. That's possibly bad. Anyway, here go the landing legs. Yeah, this engine isn't doing anything. Probably because it's a vacuum engine, which is now firing on the Earth. Ugh. Oh wait, it is doing something. No, it's doing almost nothing. It will decrease our speed from 9.7 to 9. Still 9.7. No, that has got to be the upside down decoupler that's making things be horrible. Well, best thing it can do then is act as a shock absorber, because I don't know the impact tolerance of a container like this. Oh, that would sting actually. That would be quite horrible if, let's lock the suspension at least. If because this decoupler was on sideways, we wouldn't be able. Maybe I just still have to trigger it. No, this decoupler is on the upside down method, the wrong way round. That would cause the loss of $1 million of uranium. Anyway, we will find out in about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit less if it doesn't read completely zero. So we're going to the surface at 9 meters per second. Well, best thing I can do then is just burn off the fuel, I suppose, which has been done now. See, that makes it a little bit lighter. And see about not horribly dying. And then recovering this for money. Yeah, even if we don't recover it, we'll just mine more and refine our uranium drop pod, but well, would be a bit sucky. Anyway, moment of truth. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Don't die, don't die, don't die. Lots of explosions, but the uranium crate survived. Let's recover the vessel. Oh yes. And then we're gonna have to do something extravagant. Let's see. Parts. Enriched uranium. It worked. We got 750,000 funds. Not quite new price. Oh, what? It matters. We should have gone close to the KSC because that would given us 100% value. And of course this enriched uranium has quite a lot of value. So now we only got like 74% of $1 million, which is still 750 grand. I'll sign for that. Great. So now we've got 850 grand. What can we upgrade with that? This is fully upgraded. If we upgrade this more, we get more parts. Oh, we haven't ever used that yet. Fully upgraded, fully upgraded. Administration building, we barely use that. Astronaut complex. Unlimited active Kerbals. Let's just get that, because we're splurging now. Boom. Oh wait, there were many things that were expensive, yes? Well, let's check this out. Mission control. Unlimited contracts. We don't really need that, do we? Anyway, yes, we are now ready to capture the heat shield asteroid with our thing. And we're working on the next resupply drop. For now though, I'm going to move the heat shield capturing to the next episode. Please check back, well, hopefully soon for that. And for today, thanks for watching. I'm Lorenzo. See you next, maybe soon, maybe later, but see you next time. Goodbye.